Welcome to Have You Read It, the channel where we bring books to life, one summary at a time. Today we're exploring Simon Shuster's biography, The Showman, The Extraordinary Rise of Volodymyr Zelensky. This book isn't just a biography, it's a front-row seat to history unfolding, a look at leadership forged in the crucible of war, and a compelling story of a man who went from making people laugh to leading a nation through its darkest hour. This book chronicles Zelensky's journey from his childhood in the rough-and-tumble city of Kryvyi Rih to his unlikely rise as a comedian and TV star, and finally to his even more improbable transformation into a wartime president. It's a story full of surprising twists and turns, tragic setbacks, and moments of remarkable courage. Let's rewind to Zelensky's early years. He was born and raised in Kryvyi Rih, a city in southeastern Ukraine dominated by the steel industry, and known, at least according to Zelensky, for its rough-and-tumble atmosphere. As a teenager, Zelensky found his passion in comedy and performing, a stark contrast to the more traditional paths expected of him. He honed his skills in KVN, a competitive comedy show popular across the former Soviet Union. This experience not only gave him a taste of the spotlight, but also instilled in him a fierce competitive spirit and a deep understanding of the power of performance. Zelensky's comedy career took off with the creation of Studio Kvartal 95, a production company that churned out popular TV shows and movies, often satirizing the political elite. This foray into political satire would later prove pivotal in his own political journey, as it gave him a platform to connect with a wide audience and critique the very system he would later lead. The Orange Revolution of 2004, a mass protest movement against a rigged presidential election, marked a turning point in Ukraine's history, and Zelensky found himself navigating the complex political landscape as a comedian and entertainer. His comedy often walked a tightrope, poking fun at both sides of the political divide while trying to maintain a broad appeal. This balancing act foreshadowed his later approach to politics, where he sought to unite a deeply divided nation. The annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014 and the subsequent war in the Donbas region were another pivotal moment for Ukraine, and Zelensky, like many Ukrainians, experienced it as a profound betrayal. He began using his platform to speak out against Russian aggression and to advocate for Ukrainian unity. This marked a shift from satire to activism, and it laid the groundwork for his eventual entry into politics. The idea of a presidential run initially seemed like a joke, even to Zelensky's closest friends and family, but the seeds were sown during his trips to the front lines in eastern Ukraine, where he performed for the troops and witnessed firsthand the toll of the war. The soldiers, disillusioned with the political establishment, urged him to run, seeing in him an outsider who could bring real change. Zelensky's presidential campaign in 2019 was unconventional, to say the least. He eschewed traditional political rallies and debates, instead relying on his TV shows and social media to connect with voters. His campaign was less about policy platforms and more about the persona he had cultivated as a comedian and actor, a man of the people, an outsider who could disrupt the corrupt political system. His landslide victory shocked the establishment and signaled a deep desire for change among Ukrainians. Zelensky's first years in office were marked by challenges, both domestic and international. He struggled to navigate the complexities of governing, faced criticism for his wealth and connections to oligarchs, and found himself caught in the crossfire of U.S. politics during the Trump impeachment scandal. His attempts to negotiate a lasting peace with Russia were met with frustration and resistance. The war had polarized Ukrainian politics and society, and the opposing parties were in constant tension with each other. Zelensky's desire to unify the country was one of the driving forces behind his peace talks with Russia. The Russian invasion in February 2022 marked a dramatic turning point, transforming Zelensky from a comedian-turned-president into a wartime leader. The first days were chaotic and terrifying, as Russian forces advanced on Kyiv and Zelensky faced intense pressure to flee. He chose to stay, and his decision to remain in the capital, despite the imminent threat to his life, galvanized the nation and inspired resistance. Zelensky's leadership during the war was unlike anything the world had seen. He harnessed the power of social media and television to rally international support and to maintain the morale of his people. His nightly video addresses became a symbol of Ukrainian defiance, and his direct appeals to foreign governments for weapons and aid were instrumental in securing the resources Ukraine needed to defend itself. His frequent communication with the military brass through video calls and phone calls allowed him to understand their needs, while he focused his own efforts on the media and international relations. The liberation of Kherson in November 2022 was a major turning point in the war, demonstrating Ukraine's ability to push back the Russian forces. Zelensky's trip to the liberated city, despite the significant security risks, was a powerful symbol of Ukrainian resilience and a stark rebuke to Putin's claims of Russian control. Throughout the book, Shuster highlights the tension between Zelensky's background as a showman and his role as a wartime president. His experience in entertainment gave him a unique ability to connect with audiences and to shape public perception. This proved invaluable in rallying international support and maintaining morale, but it also made him sensitive to criticism and eager for the spotlight, qualities that sometimes clashed with the demands of wartime leadership. One key takeaway from the book is that leadership is not always about experience or expertise. Zelensky's lack of political and military background was initially seen as a weakness, but his courage, his ability to connect with people, and his willingness to learn and adapt proved to be far more important in the crucible of war. He made many questionable decisions and political miscalculations along the way to the presidency, but in his determination to lead, he showed the qualities that every politician seeks to emulate when the test finally comes. Another key takeaway is the importance of perception in modern warfare. Zelensky's mastery of media and communication was instrumental in shaping the narrative of the war and securing international support. In an age of instant information, the ability to control and shape public perception can be as important as military might. The book ends on a note of uncertainty, as the war in Ukraine continues, and the final outcome remains unknown. But it offers a powerful portrait of a leader forged in extraordinary circumstances, a man who defied expectations and became a symbol of his nation's resilience. Thanks for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you never miss our next book exploration.